This is One on One. There's the man behind the music. He is Frank Brown Jr., our own Frank Brown Jr.
Your own.
Musician, producer. He is the audio czar in the PBS system.
For many years, yes.
Thank you, partner.
Thank you.
For those of you, it's hard to realize this because Frank is on camera now. He has been taking care of the sound in virtually everything we do, and so many of us, public broadcasting for so many years. But you love music and have loved it for a long time. Your dad.
My dad.
A very prominent musician. Talk about him.
Very prominent musician. Did so many things, Broadway, Four Tops, all kinds of people. But the craziest thing, and I tell this story all the time, is that out of all the people he played with, he would only mention this one song that he played on. And I thought it was the silliest song for so many years. And he finally broke me down because I said, Dad, why do you always talk about this one song? He says, you don't get it. He says, don't you see the people's reaction when I tell them about this song? I said, well, why? I mean, what's the, he says, look, that's my dad. He said, this is one of the biggest songs ever. I said, really? He says, yeah. And to this day, when you mention the Name Game.
The Name Game.
My dad is on that session. That's him playing drums.
1964?
I guess so. Okay. I wasn't here yet. So.
Some of us were born.
Yes, some of us.
Talk to about the Renaissance Man.
Renaissance Man, guy named Reggie Parker. He and I went to college together, Lincoln University. We met there. I was playing drums. I was a music major there.
You've been playing drums since you're how old? 5. Oh, okay.
We met and we played side by side. He plays bass. And of course, that's a relationship that, just becomes, you almost become one because of what I'm doing playing-wise and what he's doing on the bass. And literally, we became very good friends. I was in his wedding and all kinds of things like that, and we just had a great time. We produced some songs back in '96, and no one ever heard them. And we had access to a studio. I was still working and, doing audio, and I wanted to get into producing. Did these songs. He did an album. I didn't work on his first album. Second album, he said, hey, man, listen, why don't we get together? Let's work on some things. I said, okay, well, we got to bring these songs back. So that's the basis. The Renaissance Man album has a lot of the songs all the songs that we did in '96, but we redid them.
Some of the songs you love the most on it are?
1987, Forever, You're the One for Me, Natural Girl.
Romantic stuff?
Yes, there's a lot of romantic stuff on it.
Your love, it's interesting, sound. You have an ear for sound. I don't want to be overly romantic about this,
it's all right.
But you do.
That's okay.
The rest of us, we don't hear it.
No, you don't hear
what
things
do you
I
hear?
I hear things people don't hear, and I think that's what has allowed me to be the producer that I am at this point. I mean, there's some other older stuff that I've done, but I'm in it in so many different realms. I toured as a front of house engineer while I was also doing television back in the '90s. I started back in music in the '90s.
You worked on Destiny Child?
I was Destiny's Child's first audio engineer.
No.
Yeah.
We'll talk original. Off camera or can't? Oh,
we can talk.
Is she in?
We can talk. There.
She.
That's Beyonce right there. Second
there
from
she
the.
is.
Well, third from the right, second from the left.
Oh my God! Great experience.
Well, I only did 10 shows with them, like 10 or 11 shows, because the other two who decided they wanted to sing lead messed my money up, man. If I see them now, it's a problem.
The business of music and entertainment.
Yeah,
right? Literally,
Matthew Knowles came up to me when I was mixing for another band, and he said, I love what you're doing with this place. We were in a place in Queens, and the sound system was garbage, and I tuned it.
You made it right.
Made it right, and he came up and, yeah.
I'm always fascinated by multi-talented people like yourself. The idea of dealing in an industry where politics, business, the business of the business, the personalities, the BS, right? How have you dealt with all that? And knowing, hey, I'm better than these people.
Well, just like anything, or a lot of things, I should say, it's kind of who you know. And once you get in with some people, they'll make sure you're all right. They look out for you. And I think that's what's happened in television with people like yourself and other camera people and people I've worked with through the
Fans
years.
of yours is what you're really
I don't
saying.
know, I wouldn't
Support.
say fans,
People
but
who
just people
respect
support
what you do.
you.
They
People
respect what you do.
what you do, and they make sure you're all right, and they say, as long as he's doing a good job, let's bring him on. Same thing with music. The music industry was very much like that. Once I got rooted in Jive Records, a woman named Kimmy Mason kept me working.
Believed in you.
Oh, God, she, from group to group to group. Joe, who was also a Jersey, not native, but he lived here. He's originally from Atlanta. I was on his tour, and his first tour. And I mean, she kept me bouncing around from group to group. And then there was other people, Cheryl Marks, and just people who just kept me moving.
Real quick, what's the future for you?
I would say continuing to be a half-decent family man, I'd say. You know, I run with my children all the time.
Bob Morris, our great director, calls you like Dad of the Year.
Oh, man, that's great. Thank you, Bob.
I'm jealous. No, you're great that way.
But
I mean, in terms of the music side, what's next for you? Other than promoting this.
Promoting that. Helping
The Renaissance
promote that,
Man.
The Renaissance Man, Reggie Parker. And I'm doing some more producing. I like producing a lot. I don't want to be a studio engineer because I don't have the temperament for it.
Yeah.
You know, making somebody's half-decent idea come to fruition is a tough job. You have to have the patience of someone like Sylvester Lewis, who also worked on this project. We
wish you, on behalf of all of us and the public broadcasting family, and we've been together for over 20 years.
Yeah.
We wish you nothing but success in that part of your professional life.
Thank you.
And hopefully you won't leave us anytime soon.
I'll be right here. I'm not moving anytime soon. Thank you.
Appreciate it, partner.
All right. Thank you very much.
We'll be right back right after this. That's Frank Brown Jr.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJIT has been provided by NJIT, Prudential Financial's Global Communications Department, PSE&G, the Northward Center, the law firm of Gibbons PC, TD Bank, and by Verizon. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.